Ex-husbands queue up for reconciliation, my waiting number reaches Wall Street. It was late autumn in Manhattan, New York. The maple leaves on Fifth Avenue had just turned a caramel hue, when I received the third bouquet of flowers from an ex-husband at the opening reception of my Stardust gallery. Not the same bouquet, not even the same ex-husband. Beside the champagne flute handed to me by the doorman, 3 roses were tucked in, with cards reading Nathan, Ethan, and Jake respectively. My name is Lilian Cole, 34 years old. My greatest achievement in the first half of my life was probably getting married 3 times, and divorcing 3 times without a hitch. And now, these 3 men who once couldn't wait to scribble their signatures on the divorce papers were lining up to get back into my life. Lilian, Sophia, the gallery owner, approached with a champagne glass, glancing at the 3 roses and chuckling, looks like the star exhibit at tonight's opening is the ex-husband reunion trio. I smiled and placed the roses in a crystal vase at the bar, my fingertips brushing Nathan's card, my first husband, a Wall Street financial elite. When we divorced, he said I was too artistic for the mundane realities of daily life. Looking back now, it was just a shoddy excuse after I caught him cheating on me with his assistant. I guess they think this artistic weed has finally grown into a money tree. I swirled the champagne glass, watching the bubbles burst under the lights. 3 years ago, I used the alimony from my 3 divorces plus my savings from freelance writing to open a niche gallery in Brooklyn. No one expected that last year, when I signed the emerging artist Ella, her works would suddenly skyrocket in popularity, turning my Stardust gallery into the new darling of Manhattan's art scene overnight. As I spoke, a commotion erupted at the door. Nathan, dressed in a tailored suit with his hair slicked back meticulously, held a large gift box and stood out prominently in the crowd. He walked straight up to me, ignoring the ambiguous glances around us, and said in an authoritarian tone, "Lilian, we need to talk. I've bought a penthouse on Central Park West with floor-to-ceiling windows. You can see the entire Manhattan skyline. It's what you've always wanted." I raised an eyebrow, recalling how when we lived in his Wall Street apartment, I'd asked for a balcony where I could set up my easel. He'd scoffed, "Art can't put food on the table. You'd be better off buying more stocks." "Nathan," I gently pushed his gift box away, "my gallery now has 3 balconies, each big enough for an easel. No need to go to the trouble." Low laughter rippled through the crowd, and Nathan's face turned bright red. He clenched the gift box so tightly his knuckles whitened. "Lilian, don't be ungrateful. Do you think you could have gotten the property for the Brooklyn Gallery without me? Back then, your savings weren't even enough for the deposit. I pulled strings to make it happen." His words stung like needles. It was true that when I was struggling to open the gallery, Nathan had used his connections to smooth things over. But I'd paid him back in full with interest long ago. "Nathan," my expression turned cold, "I transferred that money to you via bank transfer in 2021, with a note clearly stating gallery property exchange fee. Should I pull up the transfer receipt right now to refresh your memory?" Nathan's eyes flickered. He hadn't expected me to call him out in public. He tried to argue, but his phone suddenly rang. The screen displayed "wife," and under the curious gazes of the crowd, he answered hastily, his tone softening instantly, "Darling, I'm just at a reception. I'll be home soon." After hanging up, he glared at me fiercely but didn't dare linger. As he turned to leave, he collided with Ethan, who was hurrying in. Ethan, my second husband, was a moderately successful architect. He'd divorced me claiming he needed freedom. I was too clingy. Dressed in a casual denim jacket, he held a golden retriever puppy, the breed I'd always loved. Seeing Nathan, he raised an eyebrow and smiled provocatively. "Well, if it isn't Wall Street's sugar daddy. Did Lilian reject your sincerity?" Nathan's face turned livid. "Ethan, this has nothing to do with you. Mind your own business." "Nothing to do with me." Ethan walked up to me, holding the puppy out with an ingratiating look. "Lilian, his name's Stardust, same as your gallery. I remember you always wanted a golden retriever. I was wrong back then, always saying I was too busy with work to spend time with you. Now I've moved my studio to Brooklyn, right next door to your gallery. We could see each other every day. The puppy looked up at me with wet, innocent eyes. He was adorable, no doubt. But I remembered the time I'd had a 102-degree fever, and called him to take me to the hospital. He'd told me over the phone, "I'm in a meeting with a client. Call an ambulance yourself." What's worse, I later found out his client meeting was actually a vacation in the Hamptons with his female client. "Ethan," I petted the puppy's head, "thank you for the gift, but I'm at the gallery every day and don't have time to take care of him. Besides, I already have Monet and Van Gogh." I gestured to two cats napping in the corner, rescues I'd adopted from an animal shelter last year. "You could hire someone to take care of him." Ethan persisted, reaching for my hand. I stepped aside to avoid his touch, and his expression darkened, taking on a threatening edge. "Lilian, don't forget, I designed the renovations for your gallery. Only I know about the hidden fire code violations. If the fire department finds out, your gallery will be shut down for good." His words made me see red. It was true that Ethan had helped with the gallery renovations as a friend back then, and I'd paid him the full design fee. I never thought he'd resort to blackmail. "Ethan," I sneered, "do you really think I'm the same Lilian you could push around?" After the renovations, I hired New York's top fire safety inspection company to do a full audit. All violations were fixed, and the report's in my office right now. "Should I go get it for you?" Ethan's face turned ashen. He hadn't expected me to cover my bases. Nathan laughed triumphantly from the sidelines. "Looks like you're out of luck too, Ethan. Seems none of you have really gotten to know Lilian these past few years." Just then, the sound of a guitar filled the air. Jake, my third husband, a rock singer who'd courted me with cries of love and freedom, had left me with the line, "You're too materialistic for my dreams," before running off to Los Angeles with his band. Now, dressed in a leather jacket with his hair cascading over his shoulders, he walked straight to the small stage in the center of the gallery, guitar in hand. The spotlight snapped to him as he strummed the strings, launching into Lilian's Starry Night, the song he'd written for me back then. It had once moved me to tears, but now it just sounded cynical. He'd taken my hard-earned writing savings to buy band equipment, cheated on me with his bassist, and then accused me of being materialistic. As the last note faded, Jake jumped off the stage and rushed toward me, his eyes burning with passion. "Lilian, I know I was wrong. I've been wandering around Los Angeles all these years, and I realize, without you, there are no dreams. I've left the band and I'm opening a music studio in New York. Can we start over?" Before he could finish, Ethan snapped, "Cut the act, Jake. Where was this remorse when you stole Lilian's money and ran?" "I was chasing my dream." Jake shot back. "At least I'm not threatening a woman with fire code violations like a coward." "You're no better." Nathan joined in the brawl. "Cheating on her with your bassist and then blaming her. You're the biggest hypocrite here." The three men descended into chaos, airing each other's dirty laundry for everyone to hear. Guests pulled out their phones to record the spectacle, and murmurs filled the room. Sophia tried to intervene, but I held her back. I wanted to see just how low these men would stoop for a second chance. "That's enough." I finally spoke up. My voice was calm, but it silenced the three men instantly. I picked up my champagne glass, taking a sip as my gaze swept over them. "Nathan, you want a partner to boost your social status, not the art-obsessed Lilian from years ago. Ethan, you want a nanny who'll cater to your freedom, not the Lilian who needed you to be there for her. Jake, you want a cash cow to fund your dreams, not the Lilian whose heart you shattered. The only reason you're all crawling back now is because I'm successful, wealthy, and have a career of my own. I'm no longer the clinging vine who revolved around you." I raised my voice, ensuring everyone could hear. "I'm sorry, but my life has moved on. There's no room left for expired exes like you." Nathan's face turned purple with rage, but before he could speak, a group of people entered the gallery. Leading them was Marcus Hale, New York's most influential art critic. His reviews could make or break an artist's career. Marcus walked straight up to me and extended his hand. "Ms. Cole, I've long admired your eye for talent. Ella's work is exceptional, and your gallery has a unique vision. I'd like to invite you to participate in next month's exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Would you be interested? Gasps rippled through the crowd. A spot at the Met meant Stardust Gallery had officially joined the ranks of New York's top art spaces. Nathan, Ethan, and Jake's faces fell. They'd never imagined I'd climbed so high. I'd be honored, Mr. Hale, I smiled, shaking his hand. After Marcus left, Nathan slunk away first. Ethan looked at me, then at the puppy, sighing as he handed him to a nearby server. Please take him to the animal shelter. With that, he turned and left. Jake stood frozen, speechless. Finally, he picked up his guitar and walked toward the door. But just as he reached it, he turned back, shouting, "Lilian, I won't give up. I'll wait for you forever." I ignored him, turning to greet the guests. Sophia patted my shoulder. "You were amazing back there. You left those 3 men tongue-tied, total poetic justice." "They got exactly what they deserved," I smiled. Halfway through the reception, my phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. "Lilian, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have threatened you with the fire code. I've missed you all these years. Can you give me one more chance?" I blocked his number immediately. Texts from Nathan and Jake followed, pleas for forgiveness and reconciliation, but I ignored them all, hitting block on each. Just then, the gallery doors slammed open. Jake burst in with his bandmates in tow. "Lilian," he said, guitar in hand, his eyes wild, "if you don't take me back, I'll play here all night, until you change your mind." His bandmates set up their equipment, ready to start playing. The guests stared in shock. No one had expected Jake to be so desperate. "Jake, that's enough." Sophia stepped in front of him. "This is an art gallery, not your concert venue." "I don't care." Jake pushed her aside. "I'm not leaving until Lilian says yes." I frowned, picking up the walkie-talkie to call security. "This is Stardust Gallery. We have trespassers causing a disturbance. Please send someone immediately." Jake's face paled. He hadn't expected me to call security. "Lilian, are you really this heartless?" "You left me no choice," I said coldly. Minutes later, security arrived, escorting Jake and his bandmates out. As he was dragged away, Jake shouted, "Lilian, you'll regret this." I watched his retreating figure, feeling nothing but indifference. Over the years, I'd learned to protect myself from people who didn't deserve my time or energy. The reception continued, with guests congratulating me on my courage and vision. As I looked out at the Manhattan skyline, its lights twinkling like the stars in my now brilliant life, I thought about how I'd once believed marriage was a woman's ultimate destination, that love and devotion would be enough for happiness. But 3 failed marriages had taught me the truth: a woman's most reliable support is always herself. 3 months later, the Metropolitan Museum of Art exhibition opened as scheduled. Stardust Gallery's showcase was a resounding success, catapulting Ella to the status of the art world's most watched emerging talent. I received offers from renowned artists around the globe, solidifying my reputation as a leading gallerist. At the post-exhibition celebration, Marcus Hale's assistant handed me a business card. "Ms. Cole, Mr. Hale asked me to pass this along. He'd be happy to introduce you to top galleries in Paris and London if you're interested in expanding internationally." As I held the card, a surge of pride washed over me. Just then, my phone rang, an unknown number. I answered and Nathan's voice came through, sounding desperate. "Lilian, I'm divorced. I got a good settlement. Can we talk? I can invest in your gallery, make it even bigger." "No thank you, Nathan," I said calmly. "My gallery is thriving without your money. And please don't contact me again." I hung up and blocked the number. Seconds later, a text arrived from an unknown sender. It was Jake, with a photo of his wrist slit and the message, "Lilian, I can't live without you. If you don't take me back, I'll end it all." Looking at the photo, I felt no sympathy, only disgust. I took a screenshot, sent it to the NYPD along with Jake's address, and blocked his number too. I knew better than to indulge someone so unstable. Sophia walked over, handing me a glass of red wine, dealing with ex-husband drama again. I nodded, smiling. They're like gum, easy to step in, hard to get rid of. But now I know how to scrape them off for good. We stepped out onto the terrace, gazing at the New York skyline. The Statue of Liberty glowed in the distance, a symbol of the growth and transformation of every independent woman. "Hey, Lilian," Sophia said suddenly, "remember that lawyer who helped you out at the reception? He's here tonight, been asking for you." I followed her gaze and spotted a familiar figure, Elliot Carter, a partner at one of New York's top law firms. He'd been at my gallery opening, witnessing my rejection of the 3 ex-husbands firsthand. Later, he'd contacted me through Sophia to handle some legal matters for the gallery, and we'd grown acquainted. Elliot saw me and walked over, a warm smile on his face. Dressed in a well-tailored suit, his eyes were kind yet determined. "Lilian, congratulations on the exhibition. It was absolutely stunning." "Thank you, Elliot," I replied, smiling back. "I have a bit of an unusual request," Elliot said, his tone sincere. "Would you be open to letting me pursue you, not as an ex-husband but as someone entirely new?" I paused, then laughed. Unlike Nathan's arrogance, Ethan's manipulation, and Jake's impulsiveness, Elliot's eyes held no greed or calculation, only respect and genuine affection. "Elliot," I raised my glass, "my life is wonderful right now, and I'm not looking for a relationship. But if you're willing to wait in line, I'll give you a special number." Elliot's face lit up as he clinked his glass against mine. "I'd wait forever." The New York breeze brushed against my face, carrying a faint chill, but my heart felt warm. I knew my life would keep moving forward, unshackled by the past. The men who'd hurt me had become stepping stones, propelling me to greater heights. As for those ex-husbands queuing up for reconciliation, they'd only be left watching from the sidelines as I soared to heights they'd never reach. That's the beauty of a satisfying ending, not revenge, but living a life so extraordinary that the people who once underestimated you can only regret what they lost.